This kid's fire.
Brother, what's that? What's that, brother? What's that? What's that, brother? Brother, what's that, brother? What's that? What's that, brother? Brother, what's that? What's that, brother? What's that? What's that, brother? Brother, what's that, brother? What's that? What's that, brother?
Yes, guys, welcome back to another stream. Hopefully, you guys are all doing well. Smash the likes up. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel as well if you're new. Make sure you guys are subscribed to City Ramble and HMTV. But before we start, I've got a question. I've got a question for Amos.
Yo. I rate it, man. I rate it. How are we?
How have you been, man? It's been like a month.
It's not even been a month. It's been like 3. This is the first one of the year. I'm like the Johnny Stones. We'll come, do a job, then go missing for 3 months. But now, man, it's good to be back.
Are you all right, yeah?
All good, man. All good. Busy grafting, busy working, but big win at the weekend, so I thought I'd show my face. I'm like glory hunting. Only turn up when we win trophies.
Yeah. And Hugh Murray, man, you all good, yeah?
Yeah, all good. Feeling good after Sunday. Nice day in London on the weekend at Wembley, so can't complain. Life's good at the minute.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I think I needed that. Yeah, I needed that win. Like, I was so down, boys, after the fucking 2 weeks before. Yeah, obviously Real Madrid, the way that went down. They did the Forest game, though. I was so deflated. Like, I couldn't believe how deflated I was, man. Like, so we really needed that. I wasn't that confident going into the game just because of what had happened. But yeah, Amos, I'll start off with you, man. How are you feeling going into the game, and sort of like what's your sort of take on the way we played? Because we kind of cooked them, really.
I'd say so, yeah. Defo second half. I wasn't, straight off the bat, that first question, I wasn't confident at all. Not in the sense that I didn't necessarily think this City team had it in them. I just expected so much more from Arsenal. I was expecting that to be like, right, we've got a chance here, and I'm not saying that I expected them to be, swashbuckling, playing this good football, because I don't actually think they're capable of that. I think they're a one-dimensional team that do some good stuff very well, but do the rest of it pretty bang average. But because of where everyone else is at quality-wise, they just, they've been getting away with it. So I wasn't confident in that sense, but I wasn't, I think it's weird because obviously City got beat on the night against Real Madrid and they got knocked out. But I think the damage was done in that first half for me. And I was actually, I went away from that second leg, like
the first leg, you mean?
Yeah, sorry, the damage was done in the first leg. I went away from the second leg thinking, I can see this team has got fight in it. And I don't know where that's going to take them. I don't know what the ceiling is. I don't even know where the floor is at the moment. But that even after going down to 10 men, I was like, right, this team to me is playing for the manager still. And that's what Pep has said all along. Like he'll be here as long as they play for me, as long as they turn up. So I was a little bit more confident, but I still thought, Arsenal would get the job done by hook or by crook. Second half though, man, that was Pep. That was a Pep team. You've seen the videos of the way that City were penning them in, recycling possession, suffocating the opposition. That's everything that you've associated with all the best Pep teams. And look, final point, it won't be consistent. You know, if you tell me Liverpool come to the Etihad and beat us on that first game back, I would not be surprised in the slightest, because that's kind of what this City team has done this season. But I maintain steps in the right direction, slowly but surely.
Yeah. Hugh, let me bring you in on this one. Yeah, Amos said the second leg against Madrid, despite the loss, kind of felt that good performance, fought for the team, gave him a little bit of hope. Was you the same, or was you kind of deflated, a bit similar to me? Where was you at?
It was bittersweet in a weird way. I mean, I regardless of the win on Sunday and the draw with West Ham and the game before that, and then getting knocked out of the Champions League, I still hold high hopes for this squad. I see a lot of quality in this squad that needs refining. I see a lot of players who are very much at the beginning of their, I suppose, evolution. And you don't just, you're a young player, you don't just snap your fingers and you grow into a mentality monster. That takes time, and there's quite a few players there now they don't have to be young, but your Gahey's, your Aitnouri's, your Cherkis, your Semenyos, even Reinders and all these guys, Nico Gonzalez, Nico O'Reilly. These are all players who, in my opinion, have potentially very big futures in front of them. You can nitpick at each of them individually and say what you think, but as a collective unit, I think this squad has the capacity, under the right management. We don't know what that'll look like with Pep, but at least under the guidance of Hugo Viana and whoever that manager is, in the future, I have high hopes for the future of this team. Now, in terms of Sunday, my head and my heart were saying different things. My head was like, are we potentially lambs walking into slaughter here? I was kind of thinking Arsenal are going to be coming in here absolutely full of it, full of vim. This is their game where they make their statement. They beat Man City to a trophy. They knock so much, so many monkeys off their back. So much doubt is erased. And I was like, I think this City team might not be ready to handle that yet, and we might be that bit fragile. But I don't know what happened, man. I don't know what happened. First of all, that Arsenal team were extremely disappointing, both in the stands and on the pitch. I have to admit, I was sat up the very, very, very top of Wembley. My legs, it was a proper leg day. Yeah. I earned
them stairs are brutal, man.
Yeah, brutal. I earned my beer, yeah. But I was about 10 meters from the Arsenal fans. I was right at the intersection between the two fans. Brutal. They were just sat there full of anxiety, didn't properly back their team. They never had that sense that we're going to go out and do it. And the players played the exact same way. The Arsenal players, other than maybe the first 15, 20 minutes, they never looked like they were bringing the game to us. And it doesn't have to be, dominating possession, but just looking comfortable, looking like we're meant to be here and this is our day to make a statement. And something obviously happened at halftime. A flip switched in the Manchester City dressing room. I think if there's a documentary about this season, I don't know if there is or if there will be, but if one comes out...
Oh, there'll be one.
Yeah, there probably will. And when we get to the part about Sunday just gone, I bet you there'll be something about someone in the dressing room, whether it's Bernardo Silva or Rodri or someone made some speech, or they had some collective, siege mentality for the second half, because the City team came out in the second half and played like Manchester City should play and played like Manchester City, have built up the I suppose the respect and the energy and the arrogance and the cockiness that we warrant to go out and win a trophy like that. We came out and said, yeah, you're doing well in the Premier League this season and you're on top, but you're still not going to bully us in the cup final. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's exactly what we did. And massive, massive, massive credit to every single one of those players, both, older players who stepped up, your Rodris, your Bernardos, and so on and so forth. Ake as well. Massive shout out to Ake. And then the newer players, the younger players, the young guns who are making their name, and the new guys who earned their first trophy. For a lot of players on the pitch on Sunday, it was their first ever trophy. And for them, it was monumental. For us, it was monumental. Like I say, people were having that debate online after the game. Would you rather secure top 4 on the final day or win a trophy? Man, give me the fucking trophy. Give me the trophy. You do not understand, people, how much benefit and how much you gain as a team and as a fan base from being in somewhere like Wembley or in the Etihad or wherever and winning and lifting a trophy.
That's what it's about, man.
It is, man. It is. Like, I saw like those AFTV guys being like, "Oh, we lost out on 50 grand," and shut up about money. Shut up about money. This has nothing to do with money. This has nothing to do with bank balance or commercial revenue or anything like that. This is about laying a glove, making a statement. And I think we made a statement on Sunday. Our lads, those newer lads, those younger lads, said, "Yeah, we're the new guys on the block. We are not the City team that won the treble. We are not the City team that were Centurions or Formidables. But by God, we're going to make a go at being the next ones." A fair play to them, man. Fair fucking play to them. I
Yeah.
was buzzing after. I'm sure you were buzzing after on the watch along. I know Amos was buzzing. We had a good night out in London. So, look, whatever happens for the remainder of the season is what will be. But I think Sunday we should take a lot from. We should take a lot of happiness and positivity from.
Yeah, 100%. I want to go back to Amos on a point that you made, bro, about you felt like I can't remember exactly what you said, but basically you felt like that was a City team that you've seen before the way that they played. And this is something that I spoke about on my match reactions, on the watch along, in that I really felt like the team that I was watching was the City team that I've seen when we've been winning trophies previously. And, a problem that we've had over the last 18 months, less so this year, but still been there, is that when we've gone ahead and when we've been winning games, we've not controlled it correctly as a team on the football pitch, and we've not shut it down, and we've been 2-0 up, and as I say, last year we went 3-0 up in one game, and we've still let teams back into it, and that's not something that you've previously associated with a Manchester City team. Previously with a Manchester City team, you go 1-0 up and you can pretty much get the deck chairs out and go, job done. So for me, that's something that I've spoke about a lot. And obviously it's interesting that you just mentioned that as well, because I think that for me was the most impressive thing at the weekend, was to see how when the team went 1-0 up and then they went 2-0 up, they just kept on playing football. They kept the ball. They didn't panic. I think to myself, how many times when we had the ball in our penalty area were they just hoofing it up? Not that many times. They were still trying to play football. They still tried to keep the ball. And I think back to over the last 18 months, they'd just be hoofing it up the pitch, clear. But then obviously the ball just comes back at you. So yeah, expand on that a little bit, man, because that's something that's interesting, because I picked up on that as well.
Yeah, I think it helps that you have a game against some mentality mouses who, obviously, in that second half, as soon as the pressure in a cup final started, they like children. But I do think it was a coming of age performance for so many of those City players. What was it? 7 of them had never won a trophy.
I like that, coming of age.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it definitely was, wasn't it? Because and look, you can obviously play down the importance of a League Cup, but City go on to win anything over the next 2 or 3 years, big trophies. I think we'll look back at that day and go, that was when it happened. Because
Facts.
and it is in my eyes, because you can say, oh, it's a new team, it's a team in transition. Just look at Arsenal. They've gone 5 years without winning a major trophy with this core of players, this squad of players that they've got. 1 year comes by, you don't win a trophy, you make excuses. Another year comes by, you say, well, we're still building. Another year comes by, suddenly you've got half a decade, and you're in a situation like they are now, where sure, they probably will win one this season. Well, goodness me, they could have had a lot more, and they should have had a lot more. So I think that to me was massive. But and like you say, in terms of the way that City were playing, it felt familiar, and it was like, a warm hug or a nice meal that you've had, your grandma's cooked you a meal or something like that, because you're watching it and you're going, this is the City team that we've been looking for. And I've had patience. I've had a lot of patience, and I think, some people wouldn't have had that patience. Some people wanted it sooner. Fair enough. Every fan supports the team differently. But I think the amount of turnover that City have had in such a short space of time, it was probably natural that it wasn't going to look as it should do. But even go back to that West Ham game, you had Pep making comments that we're still finding the balance. This is in mid-March, which is pretty mad for any sort of Pep team, because usually by this point it's, handbrake off. We know the team, we know the setup. So that double pivot of Rodri Bernardo, obviously rolling back the years. And I think as well, just to have Nathan Ake comes into the team. Now, I adore Nathan Ake. I've adored him since he came through the door. I thought he's been massively underrated, not only in the City sphere, but the wider football sphere. I would be lying if I said when I saw the team news I wasn't thinking, Jesus, that's not ideal, is it? Because it's no disrespect to him, but you want your quote better players. Nathan Ake looked like a world class defender, and looked like he has done for the most of his City career that day. And I think something clicked at half time. Whether something was said, like you say, Hugh, I wouldn't be surprised if someone said, I'm leaving. I'm not going to say who. I'm not going to guess who. But, it felt like there was an emotional charging in that dressing room where they went, we're Manchester City, lads. Forget these chances who've been dancing about, calling it the big one. We're Manchester City. Our club wins trophies consistently. And that's what they did. So, yeah, so much to take away from it. And I think we'll only start to see the benefits properly long term. It might not be this season with the Prem. Could be, probably won't be. But next season after, I think it'll be, we'll have the reap the rewards. I hope so anyway.
Yeah. I think that... Go on, bro.
I was going to jump in on that. One of my favourite things, if not my favourite thing about particularly the second half, was didn't show them any respect. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Like, I love the Cherky kick-ups. I love how Bernardo Silva was getting stuck into them physically. A couple of fouls here and there, but it was a proper, like, yeah, like, you've won nothing. You know who you're playing against here. Yeah, we might not be that treble team, etc., but we're still Manchester City, and we have an ethos, and we have a certain level of belief in our dressing room. Like, you weren't going to come here and just steamroll us because you've been impressive in your own right in the Premier League. I think that's what I was kind of worried that maybe some of our players would be overawed by the occasion, or might show Arsenal that bit too much respect, or be a bit afraid of them because of their set piece danger and whatnot. I thought we handled their set pieces really well. I thought we handled all their danger really well, truth be told. Like, to see Nathan Ake and to see Cousinov with the recovery pace, which we know is amazing. He's box office Cousinov.
So
he's gonna go on to be one of the best in the world. I'm almost certain about it now. But yeah, big him up every time. Like, congratulations on the new baby as well, Cousinov, man. Congratulations, baby Cousinov already. Project Cousinov is in action. So to see him, absolutely shutting down the likes of Saka, to see him shutting down, Declan Rice getting bullied in midfield. It was a proper, like, we're going to get stuck in here. There's a trophy on the line. We're Manchester City. We know who we are. We're not just going to accept the whole, it might be the end of an era thing and it's a rebuild. On a one-off game, we fancy ourselves against anyone. So, like, I think the overarching point that me and Amos have both made is, like, what will be over the course of the next, 7 or 8 games in the Premier League. But the fact that the players, and the new players mainly, which I'm happy with, showed that fight of, we're not going to back down. The fans fed off it, and I promise you, people, we were both there, me and Amos, on Sunday. The fans fucking loved that. And once you get the fans bought into a group of players and bought into a level of fight and character, it adds another weapon to your armor. You know what I'm saying? It's another tool to your toolbox. So, bro, like, it's there. Of course, there is probably some signings to be made in the summer, and we'll say goodbye to a lot of players probably in the summer too, or at least a few. But that core group of players it's building character now, and they showed that character, and they'll take a lot from that, because to have that draw with West Ham and then to be knocked out of the Champions League in the fashion that we were, it could do it. It could give you a hit to your morale. Do you know what I mean? It could definitely hit your confidence, and that added to my kind of, are we lambs to slaughter here for Sunday? Are they fragile? Are they vulnerable? But no, absolutely not. They stood up. Monstrous performance from everyone, and Pep Guardiola. I think Pep Guardiola is fantastic on the weekend. I think he picked a brilliant team. I absolutely loved it. And the way you see, like, I saw some people saying, can we talk about Semenyo and whatnot in Turkey? He instills it in them to play with that freedom. That's one of the best performances, if not the best, I've seen from Semenyo. And he didn't score since he joined Manchester City. I thought he was absolutely fantastic. So it's the attitude of the players that makes me go, yeah, there's definitely something to build on here. There's definitely something to work with. But what will be, regarding the next 2 months. But
well, on that point that you've said, and Amos mentioned it as well, what it was for me as well, it was confirmation that what I believed all season, that these players are good players, right? These are good set of players, and that's why I've been frustrated so much this year at times, because I'm like, I feel like the players have almost let themselves down a little bit in the league, because I do think they could have won this league if they would have been more consistent. But listen, you can't win the league every year. We've got a lot of new players, blah, blah, blah. I get that, whatever, yeah. But what it's done is it's reinforced that view for me in a positive way, in that going into next season now, I'm like, right, get another couple players in here, yeah, and I think we'll be fine. Whereas if we wouldn't have won anything this year, yeah, And I know people have got it's only the Carabao Cup. It's irrelevant. It's the way we won it. Yeah. If we wouldn't have won anything this year, maybe I'm sitting here in the summer going, the players as good as I think they are. Have I over-egged these players? Have I overhyped these players? Whereas now I feel like I'm right. I feel like these players are good players, and we do have a good squad. And maybe the manager's got a couple of things wrong. Maybe the players at certain times haven't done what they needed to do because maybe they were a bit experienced or whatever. Like I say, that can happen in a season. You can't win the league every single year, yeah. But it's given me confidence now that next season, get these couple of players in and they'll be there because these players are good players. I know they're good players. I've said it all season, yeah. And we've got the trophy now. And I just think that we can have a good end to the season here. Like I say, get a couple of players in and we can move on. In terms of the rest of the season now, lads, from your point of view, obviously, the league, I want to get your opinion on that. Obviously, we're still in the FA Cup as well. Hugh, I'll come to you on this one. Where are you at now with these two trophies? Have you said goodbye to the league, or you still fighting for it? Where are you at with that?
When we drop points, Amos would know because I always say it in the group chat. I'll throw my toys out of the pram and I'll say it's done, it's over, like forget about it. And then I wake up the next day and I think differently. No, I'm not saying goodbye to the league. I'm not. I just, like I say, this team and this manager mainly has earned the right for us to back him right until it's mathematically gone. In my opinion, I think it would be wrong for me personally. I speak on behalf of everyone to sit here and go, oh well, there's a bit of a gap now behind this Arsenal team. It's finished. I think we saw on Sunday a great example of how they are fragile. They are absolutely fragile. And I think if they were to drop points once in the next 2-3 game weeks, you could see a right proper shake. Now, with that said, Manchester City probably definitely have to win every single game we have remaining. But like what we learned from years gone by, and particularly Pep's first trophy, which was the Carabao Cup, that it's an unbelievable supplement to kickstart that last bit of your season. Like I was going to ask both of you your thoughts on this, but I love the fact that Man City fans and the team and the manager care about the Carabao Cup. I do. It not in a way where it's like, oh, this is huge, this is legacy defining stuff, but they appreciate and they understand the boost that it can give you both.
Well, there's only 4 trophies you can go. This is why, like, when I hear these rival fans talk down the Carabao Cup, I just think they're fucking idiots, mate. There's only 4 trophies you can win a season, and let's be honest, Champions League is just difficult. We won it once. Man United have won it 3 times, and they're meant to be this fucking massive club. They won it 3 times. Like, that's really difficult. So realistically, yeah, you got a small chance winning the Champions League. That brings it down to fucking 3. So I think anybody that plays down the Carabao Cup, in my opinion, is a fucking idiot, mate. Yeah, because like I say, it's a trophy. Do we celebrate it like it's the Premier Champions League? No. But what? Otherwise, like, what's the football about, man?
It's the most cliche phrase of all time, but it's so fucking true. And anyone who denies it is a total imbecile. Winning breeds winning. Okay, yeah. It doesn't matter what the win is. It doesn't matter what level the win is, where you rate the win, where you rate the trophy. It's not a major. Who cares? If you're breeding a culture of winning and putting importance on silverware and putting importance on going deep in competitions, that festers a proper culture that continues the winning. You get a thirst for it. You get a hunger for it. The players understand what it takes to get to that final whistle where you've won the trophy, and you can apply that same philosophy into the next competition. I look at that FA Cup now and I go, say, you've proved you can go to the end in a knockout competition as a team right now. So why not go and do it? Like I said, the Premier League is its own kettle of fish, but FA Cup, I'm saying fucking go for it. Full send it. And then the Premier League, obviously, you have to. So what will be with that. But I don't know about you lads. I think a culture of winning and putting emphasis on every trophy you play in is so good. It's so beneficial.
It's how you it's how you build winning mentality. And I've spoke about this about Arsenal for years. I think one of the biggest mistakes Arteta's made at Arsenal over the years is not full sending those Carabao Cups and FA Cups.
100%.
I know he won the first one, but he was, he kind of, I think he walked in the semi-final when he got the job in the first year. Like, I think that's one of the biggest mistakes because you don't build a winning mentality. And I think Pep, I don't know if he's done this on purpose, admit, or whether he's just fluked it or whatever. But given the fact we've got all these new players, I think it's fantastic that we've won this trophy because again, Semenyo, Gay, I know Gay won the FA Cup, but again, more experience. I know he didn't play, but like more experience is involved. You know what I mean? In the training, in the build up,
where the winning trophies.
All that, yeah, exactly. This is what I'm talking about. So. This for me is only a good thing, and you know I agree with what you boys are saying, man. I think people don't appreciate just how important it is to actually win silverware because it helps you win other silverware. It's a momentum thing. You think it's a fluke? You think it's a coincidence that City won 4 or 5 Carabao Cups in a row and just won bare Prems and Champions Leagues and stuff? Like obviously it had something to do with it, man. Winning mentality.
Yeah. I also hate how people act like all trophies are equal in the sense that, you know, we'll forget about the Carabao Cup because the Champions League, the Premier League is the ones that matter. No, it's not that. You know, you can have trophies that do mean more, that do mean less, but ultimately the trophies and like you say with the winning mentality, it breeds it, and it takes time. It's it's like cooking. If you're cooking a ragu, you're not doing it in half an hour. You're not getting your best bolognese in half an hour. You know, you've got to do your sofrito. You've got to, saute it. You've got to get your meat in there. You've got to get your beef cooking away. You've got to reduce it, all that sort of business. Your best ragu takes 6 hours. This does take time. This does take time. And that's why you get the best bolognese. That's why you're not getting your best ragu, LB.
That's the most Mikel Arteta quote I've ever heard.
You need to get Chef Amos in the building.
You got
I'll
a
show
cook
you.
for me and Hugh, man, in the summer.
Honestly,
I'm on those ready meals, bro. 5 minutes microwave, bang.
You'll be buying into my culture, man, if you get me cooking for you. But it's it's a daft metaphor, but look, it is true, and this to me, this Carabao Cup is the sofrito. Here we go. Yes, yeah. Bring it on. I had to deliver, man. I've been away for about 3 months.
Nomsky says we're working class here, mate. It's tin spaghetti for us.
Hey, your best, but you can get a bolognese, all the ingredients. I've just done it now. To £3.50, and it'll do you. It'll do you 4 people.
Mad.
Maybe a bit more if you're paying better for your better beef, but
That's why you come to this show, guys. And Amos tips on cooking, man. Let's have a look at some of these chats here, lads. Big up to Crush, man. Big up for the 19 months, mate. Says, do you think City's tactics could be a blueprint for how... You know what? I've seen a couple of people speak about this. I've actually not spoken about it on the channel. Hugh, what do you think? Because it was very unique, wasn't it? Like, we sort of pressed them, but then stopped when they had the ball, like with Gabriel and Saliba. We just let them have the ball, and we just had the 4 players sort of stood in front of Zubimendi and Rice. You had Bernardo and Rodri occupying them, and they didn't really know where to. That's why they just ended up going long to Gyökeres. What do you think? Do you think that would be a tactic that other managers will look to deploy, or is it unique to City's sort of skill set with the players we have?
No, I think it's definitely a tactic that other managers could deploy. Now, whether you can execute it as well as Pep Guardiola in Manchester City is a different question. People have been trying to replicate Pep Guardiola since he became a manager, and many have failed. But I had a quick look at the stats, and Arsenal only had 3 corner kicks in the whole game. Now, we know that Arsenal play to earn corner kicks. That's just factual. They play to earn corner kicks. Why? Because that's their biggest weapon. So how do you try to counteract that? You don't allow them to get close enough to the byline to earn corner kicks. You don't allow their wingers to have any joy. You don't allow their midfielders like Declan Rice to spread balls out wide to the wings and get deep in behind City's line where they could create a chance, or at their worst case scenario is they earn a corner kick. So, I mean, like it's well documented at this stage that their actual footballing style and their footballing ability, we don't know the level of the ability because they don't try to use it that much. They do go for the bully tactic. They go for set piece tactic. They try to get high up near your box, earn free kicks, earn throw-ins, earn corner kicks. But they can't get down there. They're not going to earn very many.
Well, this is a good point, bro. Because I've discussed this with the chat like basically all year, right? About like how's the best way to play against Arsenal, right? And like I've previously thought that playing a sort of low block like we did at the Emirates is the way to go because they are so bad at breaking you down that they won't break you down and they won't create any chances, which is what happened at the Emirates. However, whilst that's true, That then plays into their hands with set pieces, corners, because you end up giving more free kicks away. And that happened in the first 20 minutes of the game. We give a lot of free kicks away in that first 20 minutes of the game. Right? And obviously, if you're sitting back, you're more likely to concede corners, which is they're very, very good at that. So it's like, do you sit back, absorb the pressure, which they're not going to do much with, but then just hope that they have an off day on the set pieces? And then if they do that, then you're pretty much good, because they're probably not going to score a goal, but they're obviously very, very good at corners and set pieces. You've got to give them credit. Or do you go, no, you know what, we're not going to do that. We're going to go forward and then just stop them from playing. Like,
Well,
I don't know, but then obviously then they've got
control.
the counter. Yeah, I suppose so.
Like if you're willing to take the risk that allowing them more space and to get closer to your box, it's at your own peril. You take your own risk, and you hope they have their off day.
They've got no one to exploit it. Like Gyökeres, what's he doing, man? Maybe Sporting Lisbon Gyökeres, but not this one. He's not got the confidence. He's not, the ball playing ability of the centre halves. They are not picking out those 50-yard diagonals in behind. They've not got wingers. To be fair, I know it's a mad one. They'd have probably had a better chance of coming back if they chucked Max Dowman on, because he's a lad who gets the ball and would actually have ran at the midfield or the defence.
I thought that as well. I was stunned that he didn't come in. I really did not want him to come on the pitch. Amos.
He would have thrown he'd have thrown a spanner in the works. I think going back to that original question about the league game and Arsenal going forward, I'm hesitant to say yes, just because David Raya coming back in helps them a lot. Now, he isn't Edison in terms of ball playing ability as a goalkeeper, but he can ping one over into that midfield area, and that, I think it would have been interesting to see, take away the mistakes or the mistake he made for the goal. I think the second one's probably harsh to blame it on him. I thought it was an amazing header, but ignoring that side of things, he can pick the passes a little bit more than Kepa can. So, look, maybe they do go for the same tactic in the game at the Etihad. The other thing here as well is Arsenal don't need to win that game. Like, whatever happens in that Bournemouth match, they are still going to be top of the table. Palace are in the Conference League, so we won't be able to play the game in hand before that match against Arsenal, regardless of what happens again. So they will 100 million billion% be coming there playing for the stinkiest 0-0 draw that you've ever seen in your life. Mm-hmm. So I think it moves the needle a bit there. But in terms of the other teams, I don't think it's something that they should ignore at all, because the centre-backs, and they play enough of them across that back line. It isn't just Saliba and Gabriel. Half the time they've got 4 centre-backs on the pitch. They just cannot pick the pass. Eze missing, again, it'd have been interesting to see if he would have made a difference, because he is somebody who would have ran at that sort of Rodri Bernardo base, or even in between the centre-backs and the holding midfielder. But again, I just don't think they're a team that has a lot of creativity, and that will ultimately, because my big question, like my whole thing this season, I've partly felt like the title race was a bit fugazi, like it was a bit of an illusion. Arsenal should have run away with it months ago, because City in that January period were not serious, and I don't think they necessarily should have been serious. It's a team in transition, etc. But it's just been there where we're going, is it, can they, will they, won't they? So that's kind of fed this title race talk. I think it kind of makes Arsenal look better than being worse, if it makes sense, because it looks like they're beating a Pep City team in a title race, but I don't actually think they are when you look at the numbers and where both teams are in this sort of, this season, whatever. But my big picture question is, where does this Arsenal team go under Mikel Arteta? Because I do not see an evolution. I see.
It feels like it's its ceiling.
It's final form, isn't it? This is it. Like, they might win a trophy. They might scam a Champions League by playing stinky football and having Europa League bracket, whatever. A year's time, when City are clicking a bit more, who knows what's happening with Liverpool? I don't want to say it, but United, look, they're not far away from being somewhat serious. There's good teams in the Prem. I don't think they can do this for 5 years. They're going to have to.
It doesn't feel like who knows, maybe they can develop, but it doesn't feel like it's got that sort of like domination for the next 5 years vibe. It feels like a one-off, like they'll win the league and then next year, I don't know, man. I think they scam wins too much. And listen, obviously they win the league this year. They're the best team and they deserve to win it. But I agree. I feel like next year, like we can be back into it. So yeah, let's have a look at some of these chats, man. I want to sort of like move topics on this. Shout out to Will, who says the clip of Turkey rolling on the floor and smiling at the fans is too good. This guy going to cook for France, and then will be one of the best in the world for us next year. Love this guy, man. Yeah, I was speaking about this as well. I think Turkey next year, man. He's got the 1 year under his belt. I think he's starting to get Pep starting to get him. And I think next year, that's going to be something really, really interesting to see, man, Turkey next season. In a more settled team with a couple, new faces, maybe could really work, man. But yeah, Turkey, I thought had a great game. I really do. I thought he had a top game. Big up, Will, man. Appreciate it. Big up to Kevin. Says Arsenal fans have no right to call this cup a Mickey Mouse trophy. They haven't won anything, bro. Nobody has a right to call it a Mickey Mouse trophy. You know what I mean? But yeah, especially Arsenal fans who've not won anything for 6 years. Absolutely spot on. I've always said, about like 3 or 4 years ago when Pep started sacking the trophy off, I got it because we were winning other stuff and like we were going for Premier Leagues every year. We were winning them and we were going deep in the Champions League. I got it. But bro, you'll know this, Kevin. Yeah, because you've been on the channel for a long time. The start of the season, I said. Pep can't throw this trophy, cannot throw this competition this season because we're not guaranteed to win the Premier League. We're not guaranteed to win the Champions League. And lo and behold, we've gone and won the fucking trophy. So I think for me, like when we're at our absolute best and we're cooking and like we're the best team in the country, one of the best teams in Europe, I get it when Pep just, kind of low-key fucks the trophy off. Yeah, I understand it. I don't like it. I'm not cheering it. Yeah, but like when we lose the game, I out here cry my eyes out. Yeah. Because I understand, and when you back it up, then with league titles and whatnot, you sort of accept it. But this season, I said at the start of the season, he better not throw this trophy this season because we need to win a trophy, and there you go, boom, we've gonna won it. So, yeah, now I'm with you, mate, 100%. Shout out to Aaron as well with a 14 months. Says question for Hugh and Amos. I've already asked LB, but what would you do with Bernardo Silva at the end of the season? What's your take on a goalkeeper debate? Go on, Bernardo Silva. You keeping him? You letting him go?
Reluctantly letting him go. I think if it's at Elliot Anderson on the table, I'm letting him go. What I think plays into this as well is the future of Rodri. Because can you afford to lose Rodri and Bernardo Silva in the same summer?
Good question.
And if to me, Rodri has said he wants out at the end of the contract, I think City will say, you know what, we'll cash in on this summer. Because there's a few decent midfield options out there. They've got Nico Gonzalez, who will be increasingly frustrated with the amount of minutes he's playing. I don't think, losing one of them is disastrous. Losing both of them, though, that's a big,
especially when you've lost De Bruyne, Gundogan,
exactly.
Walker, Edison,
exactly.
Stones is going, Ake's going.
Yeah.
That's
so
a lot.
That's if Rodri stays, then yeah, you shake hands with Bernardo and you say what a servant. If he goes, or if he says that he doesn't want to sign a new contract, I think City, say right, okay, we'll find you a move then. We'll cash in, because I don't know. There's a lot to think about, man. There's a lot.
I'd let him go.
I think I would. If he said if he's not signing the contract, then yeah.
I'd let him go, mate. I think this season he's been really good. I think in the last 2 months he's been excellent, but I just think he's at that point. I feel that like it's only going to go downhill from here. Like, let's just be honest. Like his performances are only going to go down here from here. We've already ran him into the ground. I think this season he's had his second wind, and I just
really
feel
well to drag it back from last season. The reputation
he has.
in the gutter, wasn't it? Yeah.
Last season I thought he was poor, mate. I thought he was really poor. But yeah, and I thought, we kept him this year and he's done really well. But I just feel like you give him a new contract. It just stinks of Kyle Walker again. That's what it just stinks of Kyle Walker all over again. We give him a contract and then he'll just drop off and then the fan base will get onto him and it'll just end in tears. So the only thing,
unless he went to the club and said, give me a 1 year contract. I don't want a pay rise. I'll take reduced terms. I don't want to start every week. I'm happy. Fine. Like, you can find a way, if he's doing the Carabao minutes or he's coming off the bench with 20 minutes to go and seeing out a game, sure, whatever. But, I think this season's been great, the way he's played, and he has been important, but eventually you do have to move on. And if it's a case of that or Elliot Anderson coming in and, whatever, then yeah, I think you shake your hands.
I'm fully behind the rebuild now at this point. I think it's don't hold on to something too long. You know, we're in the rebuild process, we're in the transition process, so start finishing that process. You know what I mean? Put your final pieces of the jigsaw together. Obviously, like you say, the Rodri situation has a lot to do with that. But say pending he stays, you know, I'd really start to build your squad, and this is the squad we're going to move forward with for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it is. I also think it's just a good time for him to go out. I think even leaving at the end of the season as the captain that won that Carabao Cup, you know, we may look back on that and go, well, he was the captain that started off our next era, and he left at the right time. So I don't like I said, I don't want to get to a situation where it's like with Gundogan and Walker. You know, you're kind of like don't really want him to play, or prefer he wasn't playing, or I don't want to see him getting any stick, because you do love them, and you know we have a lot of emotional attachment to these guys. So I think, look, in isolation, forgetting the Rodri thing, it's actually probably just a good time for Bernardo to go and get a great send off, because he deserves it.
Yeah, and just quickly on the goalkeeper, where you're at, some people saying we're better with Trafford. Any thoughts on that?
That was going to happen, wasn't it? After he was brilliant on the weekend. So, you know, the way social media works and the way they
In the semi-finals as well against Newcastle, he was brilliant.
He is
in those
great.
games.
He is first choice quality. The issue is we haven't, and probably won't until he leaves City, seeing it across a 38 game Prem season with Champions League chucked in there. And look, you can only imagine the Donnarumma stuff was in his head a little bit at the start of the season. But there was a few shaky moments. There's some great saves. There was a few shaky moments. And I think had he done that full season, I don't want to do him a disservice, because I think he's ace, and I think he has every right to feel a bit frustrated. But there would have been games where he probably gives the ball away, or he doesn't make as good as a save. And I think that's what you pay for with Donnarumma. Look, long term though, I think the goalkeeper situation probably depends on the manager more than anyone else. A new keeper coming in, a new manager coming in, you can get away with Donnarumma. You can accommodate, because you're not going to necessarily. You will still be ball dominant. You know, if it's Maresca, yuck. But if it is, he's still going to want to. You know, we saw it with Robert Sanchez and how badly that went. But you can move around it a bit more. If in this hypothetical world, Pep signs another contract extension, that's where I'm a bit like, this doesn't really feel joined up. One more year, probably get away with it. But if there's anything after that, then I'm a bit like, because
what, as in Donnarumma wouldn't be the goalkeeper for Pep moving forward?
Well, not that he wouldn't be the goalkeeper, but that I'm looking at it going, right, okay, where's the thinking here? Because in my mind, when City signed Donnarumma, it was a market opportunity, but also future-proofed in the sense that Pep would eventually, you know, whether it's this season, next season, whatever, would move on. And that makes a little bit more sense in terms of his style, because I don't necessarily believe in that, he's not a Pep player for anyone in world football. Pep has the best players in the world, and he makes it work. But there is one position in modern football where it is a little bit different, and you know, there have been times this season where it has looked a little bit weird with Donnarumma. There have been times where it looked amazing, and I am firmly in the belief that he should be the number one starting keeper, Donnarumma, that is. But it is, it's an interesting one long term.
I think Donnarumma suits the way it is now, whereby the defense isn't the same every single week. The defense is kind of choppy and changey. There's no chemistry being properly built between a back four. You know, when Vardy comes back and Diaz is back, and you have Kuznov and you have Gahey and whoever kind of makes the consistency of the back four, then you can kind of really decipher who the best goalkeeper should be at that stage, or if Donnarumma suits that. But while there's potential inconsistencies and the odd bozo moment or the odd mistake, he's great for bailing you out of those situations, and he's proved that this season. Yeah, he was bad in both the Madrid games, and he's had his problems and whatnot, but that's the goalkeeping position, isn't it? It's always gonna fall back on the keeper if he makes a mistake.
Oh, well, that's the life of a goalkeeper. Absolutely, you make a mistake, you get absolutely rinsed. Now, good question, that Aaron, man. Big up for the question. Lads, I want to ask you a little bit about the future of this football club. There's been another story out today, this time from Alex Crook at TalkSport, who's, to be fair, has got quite a lot of stuff right in January. He was quite early on the Semenyo and the Gay deals. He got those both right. He's saying that he's more talk about Pep Guardiola leaving in the summer. What are your vibes? What are your feelings at the moment? Do you think, I mean, Pep Guardiola keeps on saying in the press conferences that he's staying, yet every journalist out there keeps on saying that they think he's leaving, so someone's lying. What are you sort of feeling? Are you feeling that maybe Pep's just saying this to keep everyone calm and let the players just go for all the trophies, or do you think could be something in this, or
Do you guys think we'd know by now if he was leaving at the end of the season?
No. Do you know,
No?
I was going to say, I think we'll find out if he is leaving. Obviously, he might not be, but we'll find out if he is leaving when mathematically the Prem title, or at least, pretty much the Prem title is wrapped up, or the FA Cup final. That competition. I don't
think this international break would be like a perfect time to drop the news.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking.
No, I can't see him wanting the fanfare around it whilst there's still stuff to play for. Whilst there's still, I don't think he'll want the narrative of every single press conference. If City can get back in the title race, or if there's an FA Cup semi-final, whatever, I don't think he'll want the distraction of that when there's still business to do. If City get knocked out by Liverpool, if they lose to Arsenal, and that's the season done, top 4/5 is secure. They've got a League Cup, 5 games from the season, and he goes, I'm leaving. I think that'd make more sense. I don't think they'll do it when there's still stuff on the line.
Yeah, exactly. Klopp did it, and
yeah.
I mean, we don't know for certain if that was the reason, but they obviously fell off.
He did it in Feb. It was even earlier than this. It was like
They were top of the league when he dropped the news, Amos.
They were up there because it was that three-way title race, wasn't it? For like even when we went to Anfield in I think late March or early April, when that Doku, let's say tackle, probably should have been a penalty. They were still in the title race then. So it was about 3 or 4
people were
months.
saying, weren't they, that it could go one or two ways. They could either spur them on and they go on a winner for Klopp, or else it goes tits up, and obviously went tits up. But I don't know. My feeling is that Pep will go. It's just my feeling. I want him to stay.
At the end of the season, that's your current vibe.
I'm very much Pep in. The fact that I even have to state that is
hot
mental.
take.
Yeah, it's the fact that people are different. That for me blows my mind. But either way, I think he goes. I think I said it to a few people after the game. I was like, I think that could be Pep's last ever trophy. So it was a little bit emotional. But yeah, my gut feeling, I've nothing to base it off, is just that he'll go. He's done his 10 years, and we'll figure it out from there. I don't know, like, I'd say the club must know. Surely the club must know by now, because
100%.
They have to put plans in place. Like
there'll be an agreement between the club and Pep to say, Pep, when you decide that you're going, please just don't spring it on us in May. You know what I mean? Let us know. Let us have 5-6 months so we can,
especially in a World Cup year.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. The thing is for me, Amos, is it's like, I just find it very, very sus that all that Maresca talk come out in January about he's been speaking at Manchester City about taking over from Pep. Then he gets fired, and we get this relentless news. And I know Pep's saying he's staying, but we get this relentless news from all the journalists saying, we think he's going. And I'm just like, okay, I know Pep's telling me he's staying, but he might just be doing that to sort of like protect the team, like you mentioned. And then you look at this Maresca thing. We know Maresca's been at the football club before, We had all this talk in January about the fact he's been speaking to Manchester City about taking over from Pep, and it's just like, do you know?
I know, yeah.
It's just a bit weird, isn't it?
Yeah. Have you ever watched Catchphrase, the game show?
I think so. I'll probably have watched it at some point.
They have that, like, they'll have a screen or like a clue of something, and they'll just slowly but surely take away
I've seen it,
pieces. It kind of feels like they're a bit there, like they're just the layers are being peeled off a little bit here and there, because I'm with you, and I'll caveat what I'm about to say by, if it was up to me, I don't want Maresca personally as a first choice. Like that, I don't think that's necessarily controversial, but the way that it's panning out, it does feel like it could be in terms
This is well, Amos. Sorry, this is well, bro.
Yeah. It is true, but I think it depends. That one's interesting because you see the quotes written down and you think, oh God, he's staying. And then you hear him say it and you're like, oh God, he's leaving. So look, I don't know. Like, he's kind of you can never read too much into him.
Who would be your number one? Because all right, so you're clearly not.
Yeah.
You seem like you really don't want Maresca at all. Or is it more just like?
Do you know what it is? I think he's a great coach. I think he's a really good coach. I just don't think he's a good manager. I don't think he's got that. I don't think he's going into a dressing room with the players that City have and immediately commanding respect.
That's oh my God, that's what I've been saying. That's what I've said for so long. I've said that whoever takes over Pep Guardiola, has to walk in that dressing room and the players have to go, yes, boss, yes, boss, yes, boss, yes, boss. Yeah, and I feel like Maresca, like, I agree. I think he's a good coach, and I think if we hired him, I wouldn't be like, oh my God, this is shit appointment. But I'd be like, ooh, not 100% sure, but I do rate him.
Yeah.
For me, I just don't understand, if you're going to get Maresca, why don't you just get fucking Company?
Do you know what's funny? I'm going to backtrack here. I would like Company in the future, one day. I don't want him replacing Pep, and I'd actually rather have Maresca than Company, because if it goes tits up, then see you later. Like, City wouldn't owe Maresca anything, whereas unless you said and you made it abundantly clear both to Company and in the media to the fans, getting Company is a project. If the first 2 years don't look like they're going well, that's fine, because he's sticking around and we're investing time and we're investing patience into him, because I think that first couple of seasons after Pep, I don't think there's going to be a Man United style drop off like there was for them in when Fergie left, but naturally whoever comes in after that, it's gonna drop off. If it was my perfect hypothetical world and I could just pluck someone out of the sky who fits the bill and has that respect, and the club doesn't necessarily owe him anything, blah blah blah, I would have Luis Enrique in a heartbeat. I think he ticks every single box that you would want from that Pep replacement. He's going to come in, he's probably going to do 3 years, he's going to win trophies because that's what he does. He's got the respect of the players because he's won 2 Champions League titles. I know people will be saying, oh, what about Donnarumma? The guy won a treble with him. The club's first ever Champions League title was with Donnarumma, so I think they'd find a way to get across that one. After that, I wouldn't mind seeing Xabi Alonso. I think that's a dice that you could roll.
Oh no, I'm not on that one, me, Amos, mate.
I would rather that than Maresca, all day. I think he's going to be a top manager, and the reason he didn't succeed at Real Madrid is exactly why I think he's going to be a top manager, because that's a football club that tactics and ideas don't stick.
I hear what you're saying, and I do get it. I don't know, man. There's something about it, man. I get it. Don't know.
You'd rather Maresca than Alonso?
I don't know. Honestly, this is a disgusting conversation, Amos.
Do you know what the thing is?
Talking about
the options aren't great.
The greatest manager of all time is just a shit conversation.
Yeah, that's why I'm not getting. That's why I'm not getting involved, bro. I don't want any of them.
Give it us. Give it us till the end of the season.
I'd like Enrique. I would like Luis Enrique.
He's the dream, man.
Enrique's just like the obvious one. Did Enrique replace Pep when at Barca?
No, it was Ernesto. No, Tito Villanova, I think it was.
Villanova,
and then it was Enrique.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
But what's his name? Enrique seems like the most natural segue, doesn't he? From Pep Guardiola, like he is going to come in, and the players will look at him and go, "Yes, boss. Yes, boss."
He command the respect, like Amos was saying.
Yeah, he has a very, not the same, but a similar philosophy of football. He sees things similarly to Pep Guardiola. So it's not. I think the club will be very conscious of culture change. They've obviously built this from the top down, all the way through the academy. Everyone plays this one way, and it's all built towards one thing. I think they'd be very conscious of and reluctant to just rip that up because Pep's gone. I think if they could, I think they would like to continue that. And getting someone with similar DNA, it's a small pool. You've Enrique, you've Company. He went through it. Maresca, of course, it's natural. It makes sense, but I don't know. I mean, are the club going to be very conscious of who they appoint? Are they going to have that level of authority from the off, replacing Pep Guardiola over the dressing room? It's a funny one. Like how you have to balance up keeping philosophy versus commanding the dressing room and authority in the dressing room. So who ticks the most boxes on both sides of that? It's Enrique. But can you go and get him from PSG? I don't know. It's a difficult one, isn't it?
If I tell you what I think's going to happen, I think Pep stays for another year. and I think we get company at the end of next season.
Hmm.
That's what I think, and I think they've just signed a new deal, Bayern, company at Bayern, and I think that'll probably have some sort of
Did I
compensation
see
fee.
15 million euros or something?
Yes, you did.
I swear I saw that banded about.
You did see that. I seen that as well. Yeah, I think that's the game plan. I think he signed a new deal. He's got the compensation fee up because obviously when he went in, the compensation fee probably wouldn't have been that high because they got him from Burnley. They probably never thought that he'd be getting poached off City, and I think we'll go for him at the end of next season. I think that's what's going to happen. I don't think City are going to put an intermediate manager in after Pep before company me, Amos. I just think they're going to go bang, company's the man. Especially when you watch what he's doing at Bayern.
It's incredible.
You know what I mean? It's good stuff.
It ain't a quality. It's not at all. I'm not talking about companies buying stint and saying he's not ready for it. Especially, and to be fair, I think a lot changes if he wins the Champions League with Bayern, because that suddenly is. Yeah, sure. You're getting a Champions League winning manager in. It don't really matter if you're going to get a drop off after that because he's just won the Champions League. But it is purely emotional driven to protect my and a lot of other City fans have had conversations. We just did a show that's coming out tomorrow saying similar to protect his sort of connection. I don't want him to be the person that fails after Pep. There are a million other managers in the world that I would be happy failing after Pep if it meant that company was a success.
But what about if he succeeded after Pep, Amos?
He is going to manage Manchester City though. Like it's nailed on. Pep has said it since company was a player, didn't he? He said company will manage Manchester City. So it's when, how
it is when. But also don't rush it. Unless he's told the club that
I want it now. I want to know now.
I think.
I reckon Amos, after a few Guinness in the pub's, it's a company.
That's the thing. As soon as he is announced as City manager, and it's fully locked in from me now. It will be magical, and I have full faith that he will succeed. I just know football, how it works naturally after a long manager. And look, obviously Arne Slot won the title with Liverpool last season, so it's maybe not the best example. But look at them this year. That was Klopp's team last year. He didn't do much. He came in, won the title. Now they're having the problems this year. So Alex Ferguson, Wenger, etc., etc. The examples are too prominent to ignore. You have a drop off when a big manager leaves, your best manager in your club's history. I wouldn't mind having a sacrificial lamb for.
Imagine they wheel out Enzo Maresca next season and they go, look. Don't worry, he's only going to be here for about 2 years. We're just waiting.
But that's kind of what they did with Pellegrini. That's kind of what they did because they always had in the mind that they wanted Pep, and that's kind of what Pellegrini was. And I know it's looking back at it, the managers, the managerial career that Pellegrini had after City. But when he came in from City from Malaga, and even at Real Madrid, he didn't win the league there. But I think behind, would it have been Pep's Barcelona team? He had the highest points tally to not win the league title in La Liga at the time. He was of good stock. He was a good manager. He was well revered. But it wasn't you've got the keys for the next 10 years. It was, right, you can come in now. We've got this project bubbling behind the scenes. I think they could do the same with company.
Something people aren't probably considering is there is a world, to be fair to him, where he comes in and he does really fucking well, Maresca.
Yeah, there is.
Well, we've all agreed he's a good coach.
A great coach.
But I think we are the right environment for him in the sense that I don't view our board as a hiring and firing type nature. I couldn't see us sacking him by, a January, February if it's not going really well. I think they would afford him quite a lot more time than most other clubs would. I think they would invest in him. I think they would give him good resources to get players that he maybe wants. And he also, as I say, he ticks the box of continuing the philosophy, continuing the culture that's been harvested for 10 years now. So the only real concern with Maresca is, does he come in and does Haaland and Rodri and these guys look at him and go, bro, what I'm saying? Is this really what you brought in? Or do maybe Pep speaks to the players before he leaves and say, I want you all to buy into this. This is the right guy. There's going to be bumps along the way, and just get behind it.
The thing is, wasn't Maresca already here though in the treble year? So
he was his assistant coach.
They know who he is.
Bro.
There was reports that he was the guy that came up with the John Stones stepping into midfield.
Oh,
that's
really?
right. That's right.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah.
Is it? No, I think he's. I think he did a really good job at Chelsea, and I think that the fact that they obviously they've obviously pissed him off for him to want to go. I think they'll regret that a lot. But
It's worth saying Chelsea's a basket case of a club. Like,
it's a shit show, mate.
there's not a lot you can judge a manager on, and obviously he did win. What did he win? 2 trophies in the end, Conference League and Club World Cup.
It's not a fair case study. His time at Chelsea. It's not.
Well, he did well. I think it is a good case study. I think it's a good case study.
But he didn't do enough that the kind of fickle City fans would be going, yeah, get him in, get him. He's the one.
No, yeah, I know what you're saying.
But also, like that in that environment, he was. You can look at it 2 ways. You can say that he did really well in that situation, but also when you're in a settled environment and your job is to manage and coach the team both at the same time, like. I don't know. That's your test, because you're not dealing with the basket case that is Todd Bowley or whatever. Your sole operation is to get results, and like you lose that excuse of it's Chelsea,
Well, that's why I'm saying I think our culture at our football club is far more set up for someone like Maresca, where it isn't just solely win every week. Of course, it's massively important, but City like to do things a certain way, and they want a certain culture to be maintained and a certain way the team plays to be maintained, and he'll do that. So I could see why it would be really appealing to him. First of all, you're manager Manchester City. You're going to have all the resources you could possibly want to go and be successful. But also, like I say, if it does go a bit sour for the first 3 months, or you've fallen down the table a bit, I just don't see the club going, you're a failure, get out. You're the wrong appointment. I really do think they'd give him plenty of time. So like I say, look, we could all sit here and go, I want Luis Enrique. I've seen people say they want Ancelotti, and we can all throw out these big established names. But there's a new pecking order of coaches coming along. Your Alonsos, your Marescas, your Fabregases, and some of these guys are going to make their name in the game. So who fits us best? But there is a world where one of them comes in and does a fucking fantastic job. So we'll see.
Fabregas is a disappointing one for me, in the sense that if you get him to Dortmund or a club of that sort of similar size, that medium sort of level in European football.
Tottenham.
Well, no, we're talking about a different sort of level there, mate. And he does really well. Like, for me, I see him being a top manager, a top coach, a top manager. I think he's got that respect. I think he's got that vision, the way he speaks about football. I think he could be really good, but you can't have a manager coming in who's never managed in the Champions League replacing Pep Guardiola.
It's so important, though, for this newer crop of managers, isn't it? And in general, any new manager coming along, to be really selective of what club they go to and where they go to. Because if you make the move like Leverkusen to Real Madrid, like Alonso did, it can really tarnish your image, your short-term image.
I don't like the Real Madrid one. I think is similar to Chelsea for very, very different reasons, though. In the sense that, like, getting sacked by Real Madrid, I don't think is a blemish on Alonso's CV. It'll be his next job.
Yeah, I do agree.
The level-headed person will say that. The level-headed person will agree with you, but you know exactly where the clickbait comes in, the titles come in, and the tweets come in. People go, "Oh, he's a flop. He didn't make it at Real Madrid." The fact of the matter is, Alonso was fucking phenomenal at Leverkusen, and had he never gone to Real Madrid or made maybe a move to, I don't know, I can't even think of a club, but the next step from Leverkusen, whoever,
Liverpool, he apparently turned him down. He didn't feel like he was ready, but.
Yeah, I agree with you overall point. I just disagree on the Alonso Real Madrid thing, because I think Real Madrid, you're full of egos. I think it's really difficult to manage that team.
It was the wrong move for him. Wrong move, bro.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have gone.
Yeah, you are right. He probably shouldn't have gone there. But I don't think that, in my opinion, I don't think that impacts on how people view it, because I think everybody knows. Like, we all seen what Mbappe did. You know what I mean? When Mbappe was just like, I think it was after a cup game, they'd just been knocked out or something. And like Alonso was I think he was trying to get the players to go clap the fans or shake players' hands or whatever. And Mbappe was just like, come on, get off the pitch. Like, it's just like, the guy has no respect for the manager whatsoever. Yeah. I agree. I do agree overall with the point, though, that you do have to be really careful.
They brought him in for the wrong reasons. Like I don't know, did you listen to the overlap with Gareth Bale the other week? He said the manager of Real Madrid is not there for tactics. He's not there to coach the team. He's just there to manage people, to manage egos, to make sure everyone's in line. Alonso is the opposite of that. He's a coach. He's a tactician. He's a football man, Whereas Ancelotti was the Don. He was the guy I could control all these egos. Zidane's same. I could control all these egos. They'll all look up to me. They'll all listen to me. Whereas, like, a football man is probably what Manchester City need after Pep Guardiola, Someone with a philosophy, hopefully similar to ours, and I don't think we have crazy egos in the dressing room anyway. Truth be told, I
No.
don't think there's anybody that I look at and go, "You're a bit of a problem." So I don't know. Someone of that ilk is what we're gonna get. I don't know. Like, could you see in a real world, honestly, people, City going and getting Luis Enrique? Is he attainable from PSG? If not, you're looking at a Maresca, an Alonso, Fabregas, or a company. Any of those guys. In what order you can pick yourself. So I don't know, man. It's a mad one, the whole managerial thing. There's not a whole host of, there's not a list of 10, 15 managers that are all box office world class right now that you can go, if we don't get him, we'll definitely get him, and it'll still be class. There's a gamble with no matter who it is, and they're replacing Pep Guardiola to throw in on top of that. So it's crazy, but it's kind of exciting too in a weird way.
Or Pep just stays 5 years, and we have this conversation when we're...
Pep just stays
10 more years. 10 more years.
Who knows? Who knows? Listen, lad, we'll wrap it up there. Big up to Andre. He says, listening to loose cannons with Turkey, someone saying they don't rate Kuzanov, rivals, they never learn. I keep telling you, bro. Just let them. They'll get there eventually.
Slow.
They'll get there eventually.
Simple.
I seen. What was it? What's that? Is he called Henry Wright? The guy who writes for the
Man.
Athletic. No, not the top.
Sorry.
Henry Winter.
Henry, yeah.
The journalist.
No.
The journalist. Yeah.
The journalist, yeah, he was like, Kuzanov played well, didn't he, in the final? It was just like, and then he still mentioned in the tweet the Chelsea debut, and I was just like, oh my.
It's so weird, man. The thing is, like, I beg people to actually go back and watch that cameo after the Chelsea game after that mistake, because he was fine.
Well.
Yeah, he was fine.
After
After the first 5 minutes, I was thinking, fucking hell, what's going on here? After the next 55 minutes before he got subbed off, perfect. Not perfect, but close enough.
Yeah, no, he was really good. He was really good in that game.
He could go on. He has the capacity to go on to be one of the best centre backs in the world. He just does.
Easy.
We've seen it.
Easy.
Like, he has that raw ability, the raw pace to handle any attacker. He
His
has the
passing
aggression.
is so underrated.
So grossly underrated. And when the world wakes up to it, we'll say, "I told you so." I know you.
I don't know why people are still just lagging on this. I don't get why they're so slow to. I don't know. Maybe they don't watch us all the time, and they're just like
Brazilian or Argentinian.
Nah, you're my honest opinion. I think what it is I think that people watched that Chelsea game and haven't watched him properly since. And just have in the back of the mind, oh my God, he made a bozo in his debut and he just think he's shit. Whereas, like, it's 14 months on since that Chelsea game, lads. Yeah, it was a whole year ago. He's been mint ever since, bro. Like,
and the whole team's different. Like, he came into a basket case of a City team.
And people forget, yeah, not to crash it on this guy, yeah. Akanji fucking had part to blame with that goal. He should have fucking took that ball out.
Parts.
Yeah, like, you're the experienced centre-back in that situation. This guy's 19, 20 years old. You should have gone through that ball, took it out, and you didn't. You just let Kuzanov deal with it. So, yeah, anyway.
Lads, to Uzbekistan, what are we saying?
Bro, I actually done some research on it.
Should we do up Tashkent?
Mate, yeah, I've done some research. It looks mint,
Should we send it in? Make a week of it. Make content.
I will 100% go there. It looks class.
Let's send it in. Let's send it in.
I'm not joking, man. I'm on it, man. I'm
100% on it. Imagine the vlogs.
Yeah, chat what you saying, man. You are LB Amos HMTV vlog in Uzbek. What?
I wonder, is it expensive? I wonder, or is it like, what's the kind of GDP?
I don't know what the currency is. To be honest, real talk, yeah, I'd never even heard of the country until we signed Kuzanov, mate. And then I was just like, yo, I done all the research on it. I was like, it's actually a proper nice country, man. They got all like nice architecture and shit.
The retail price range for beer is between US dollars 0.74 cents and $2.
Oh, the boys! On the plane,
start super chatting. The boys are going Tashkent.
Yeah, we don't need a lot either, mate. Yeah, fucking fiver will go a long way.
There we
big
go,
up, man. Listen, we'll leave it there. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the show. If you did, smash the likes. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. So make sure you guys are following City Ramble and HMTV, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace out, people.